Hi guys, this is Carolina Varsity. We're in the 2015 season. We're going into week 9, and this is Mallard Creek going up to play Vance. And I don't remember what name we gave this.
This is the battle for University City.
That's right, the University area. I'm Dale Ross.
And I'm Matt Mallard, the Pet Man. We got a theme going this week, rivalry week, so every game's a battle. And we battling for UC here. Two newer schools, relatively newer, in the Charlotte area here. And it's funny, when these schools open, they also open to line with the growth of the university area.
Yeah,
Because before these schools were around, university was basically just UNC Charlotte.
that's right.
And now it's a whole complex of different things. So who's going to own it? Big game on the field here. Both of these teams, we talked about them, this being the game of the year, but some upsets have happened.
Yeah,
And now this is a game for second, third place in the Mecca.
right.
So it's still a huge game. For Mallard Creek, your pass defense will be tested. It's been a theme all season long, talking about Mallard Creek having trouble stopping the pass. We're going to see how much progress they've made here. I think their best bet is to pressure Affetti rather than try and sit back and play coverage and get pressure with their front four.
Right.
It's been seen that when Affetti is thrown off of his timing, he can struggle a little bit. On the offensive side of the ball, they got to find their run game again. And I think you play keep away from Vance. They had trouble running the ball against Huff. And if you're Mallard Creek, you can't have that. They're not an offense built on just throwing the ball every down. They're at their best when they're balanced. And their threats on the outside can get in space and make plays against softer looks. If you're going to sit there and try to throw the ball all night long with Smith, you're going to have some success, but that's not the way Mallard Creek is built.
Right.
They've got to come off the football and run the football with their studs. For Vance, I think in this kind of game, formations on offense, a lot of different formations to dictate matchups in the passing game. Whoever you want to pick on against Mallard Creek, you want to probably get Dorn, their best receiver, against the lesser corner of Mallard Creek. So maybe some trips formations to one side. Try to isolate Dorn on the backside against somebody. Make some easier throws there for Affetti. I think on third downs, mix some zone coverages in to confuse Smith and contain rush him in the passing game. Can't let Smith get outside the pocket and make plays. He's a really good runner when he gets into space. And that's not something you want to have to worry about if you're Vance.
Right.
You want to make Mallard Creek as one-dimensional as possible. Shut down the run on early downs. Play the pass on third downs. Keep Smith in the pocket and make him beat you from the pocket.
Okay, so last year I was at this ball game, and it was the hardest hitting high school football game I've ever seen in my life. Period. And a lot of people that were at the ball game felt the same way. It was by far, because these are two bitter rivals. We've given the game a name. They'll tell us that the game didn't need a name. And we don't know what they call it. We need to find that out. But these are two very, very bitter rivals. So I'm expecting this game to be no different in that regard. But when we look within the game, so I was listening to a couple of things that you mentioned there. The thing for Vance is, Dorn is a great receiver, but Affetti on the other side, if he's healthy, is a comparable receiver. So he's of similar ability. These are two of the better receivers in the city that we have. So Vance does have a very, very good pass attack.
And that's a great advantage then, because you can do even more
Well,
if you got comparable receivers with formation. That's going to be real tough.
so the thing that they're looking for is that maybe if Spencer comes back, Spencer adds a dimension of not just the run, Donovan Spencer I'm talking about, but Donovan, they throw to him a lot as well. So it really alters them with Fetty being injured and Spencer actually being out. It's kind of altered how they go on offense. So if they have those elements back, it can present a very diverse passing attack that can be very difficult to handle. They also, you got to be cautious about pressing Affetti, and I'm talking about Kingsley Affetti, the quarterback, because the kid can run. He's shown me in many games that I've seen this year, he can flat out run. Now he's not the type of athlete in space that Smith is, but he's, for his size, he's 6'3", so he's about half a foot taller than Smith is. I think Smith's 5'10", 5'11", somewhere in that range. But he's got size. He runs hard. He runs like a big wide receiver when he's out in space. So you kind of got to watch that, because the kid probably could play wide receiver. I think because of that, Mallard Creek has got a good front. Actually, they should be very, very good front seven. Very good at the linebacker core. Yeah, they need to bring pressure, but they need to bring conservative pressure. Is that a good way to put it?
You can do that.
Yeah, they've got to be cautious of those guys coming into the seams and in behind them. They've got to be cautious of them, but at the same time they need to try to be in the face of Kingsley Affetti. He is getting better. The kid throws the ball well. I think he moves around in the pocket well, but he's still a developing quarterback. So you gotta find ways to throw him off of that timing. The defense has got to find ways to soften it up for their secondary. If the secondary has not made enough adjustments, and it can be attacked, that's to be seen. On the flip side of things, Mallard Creek, as you say, they need to be balanced. They can't come out and throw. They do need to look at what has happened in the past against Vance, and some of the things that I have seen that's happened to Vance is that Vance gets themselves open. They leave themselves open to surprises. They bite on things they shouldn't bite on. The next thing you know, receivers wide open, and I saw that kind of stuff in the Kannapolis game. I saw it in the South Point game. So you got to find ways, and as you say, it's this time of year. Teams have had the opportunity to have worked on some trick plays. You got to have something, because you've played these guys year after year. You've seen,
on top of that, the coaching matchup here. Both these coaching staffs know each other.
They know each other.
Brand came from Mallard Creek. Stone came from Vance.
Yep.
I mean,
exactly.
Hey,
so they know
that. You got to
that
pull something out there that they're not looking for.
you got to have something, and so that that's probably we got to look and see. That's probably what Mallard Creek's going to have a few tricks up their sleeve in that area. The running game, that's another element that Mallard Creek needs to bring to bear, is the run game, because I saw again in the Brown game the ability to run against the defense. The defense tends to over pursue, and how much of the offense is switched out of using a kind of almost a base wing T with some of the formations that they've run, and I'm talking about Mallard Creek now, the plays that they've run. You need to get some of that misdirection stuff in there, because I think you can be successful with that. That's probably a...
And here's another thing. I didn't mean to cut you
off. No.
The psyche of Mallard Creek after coming off that loss to Huff. Where are they at mentally? We've seen this team back a couple years ago before they got over the hump. In big games like this, there were some issues there.
Right.
And, they seemed like they kind of fell back into that mentality against Huff. They weren't, real fired up, and they were in a dog fight. Now, are they going to come out and be the championship Mallard Creek? Or are they going to be this other team they were last week?
Right.
You would think they're going to come out and be ready to go.
That's got to be going through the coaches' minds. The good thing for the coaches is this is a huge rival game. So that's going to bring all of the kids up, their intensity, their focus, everything's going to come up. So I'm expecting, we're going to see Mallard Creek play the best they've played all year. I really do expect that. And I expect that we're going to see Vance play the best that they've played all year. It's going to come down to, out of all that, it'll come down to how many key players are not playing that are bringing that to the table. Because I believe these two teams are, across their first 22, these two teams are evenly matched. Even though Mallard Creek has that roster that we thought was going to be the best team that we ever saw in North Carolina come out. There's a lot of studs on that team. But the thing about Mallard Creek is their studs go deep. And Vance's studs don't go quite as deep, but Vance is pretty talented across that first 22, just like Mallard Creek. And rivalry games can allow kids, they find energy that allows them to keep playing, that they don't get as tired, so that depth becomes less of an issue as long as there's no injuries.
There you go.
So I think we're going to have a very intense game. The report, here we go. The report says 32-30 Vance.
Ooh.
Is what it's picking.
Wow.
So Vance is picked as the winner in this ball game. I believe it's going to be a close game either way. It's going to be a game that's going to be decided late in the game. It's going to be tight all the way through, but there's going to be something happen late in the game that's going to be a big decider, like it was last year with that punt into the back of the blocker's back that gave Mallard Creek the ball at the 1 yard line. It's going to be something like that that's going to flip. I don't believe 32-30. You almost got to think. One part of me says I can see that, and maybe even a little higher. But then the other part says I can see this being a dogfight and being a game in the 20s.
Yeah.
So
either way, one of us will be there.
Oh yeah, it might be both of us. You never know. Great ball game. I'm sure that the Mallard Creek people are going to be there, and there's going to be Vance. Maybe the Vance people will come. You guys don't travel to. Actually, it's home game.
Yeah, it's at Vance.
So you got to travel. You don't have to travel. You just need to show up. Thanks. Have a good ball game.